What's going on, everybody? It's the NBA Guru Show. We are back with a special guest. It is the day we are recording this the day after the New York Knicks won the 2026 NBA championship. Absolutely insane. It's been 53 years. But today, we're going to talk a little NBA draft action. It's coming in 9 days, and we are excited to have a special guest on our show, Ravneet from Attack the Paint. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm repping the Knicks jersey. I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm not a Knicks fan, but that was a special title, so I gotta rep the jersey today.
No,
How
I
you
love
guys
it, man.
doing?
Not too bad. Nav, how are you, man? How's it feel that the NBA season's over and we're talking some NBA draft?
Yeah, man. It's exciting draft. The next couple are probably not going to be as exciting as this one. So let's soak this one in with all these elite prospects and talent. And yeah, man. Rob Neat's about to give you all the inside scoop. So pay attention close.
Yeah, follow Rob Need on Attack the Paint on YouTube. He also has a second channel, Attack the Paint show, and he has very good content. Goes over a lot of the draft players, and it's honestly very underrated. So, and he's got a good following. So go check him out. Um, let's start with the Kings, man. This is a Kings pod. We love all NBA, but we got to start off with the Kings, man. And there's about four guards that always keeps getting talked about. Wagler, Acuff, Brown, Flemings. Um, who do you think the Kings should get out of those four guards, and how are you ranking them? Because that's like the one of the biggest debates of this draft is how are people rating these four guards?
I've probably thought about it an unhealthy amount, to be honest, because I think this draft is like one of the most fascinating drafts we've ever seen. Because outside the top four, it's like a lot of guards, and we've talked about this offline a little bit about like how can you win with like a small guard, and the Knicks just did it right with Brunson. Obviously they surrounded him with a bunch of wings, but I think the Knicks are an example that you could win a title with a small guard. So I do think it actually helps the stock for these point guards and these guards that we're going to talk about. How I would rank them would be Mikel Brown first of the guards,
Whoa.
Darius Acuff, um, and then Keaton Wagler. And so, for if we were talking about what the Kings should do, I think they should just take whoever's left of those three. I think they have the highest upside. I like Kingston Flemings a lot, but I think he's more of like a really solid starter, and I see those other guys having more All Star potential.
Yeah. Michael Brown has been getting a lot of buzz lately for the higher ceiling. Pretty can score in all different ways and stuff like that for sure. Do you think that he will get picked around that fifth pick? Like, because there's been some buzz going on with the Clippers and with him getting connected with Michael and Keen canceling his workout with the Clippers. Do you see? Have you been hearing stuff about that? He might be going five, like secretly. I don't know. Like he's been climbing up charts a little bit.
Um, I have heard that. I also heard that Steve Ballmer liked him at a workout, like he was like yeah, oozing over him apparently. So it's tough. It's like how much do they really want to build around Darius?
Garland.
Yeah, Garland. Yeah. How much do they really want to build around Garland? Because if they think he's the future, then you can't pick Acuff because he Acuff can only play the point. You could probably get away with Michael Brown and have him play the two a little bit more, but Wagler to me is more of like the best fit for the Clippers. But I would argue that they should not worry as much about fit and just pick the best player available. So if I was the Clippers, I would go on my board and just look at Michael Brown and pick him.
And so for these four guards, you got Michael number one, you got Acuff number two, and then you got Wagler number three. And
Yep.
and then you're saying because of Jalen Brunson win this shit, there's going to be smaller guards. Smaller guards are not as bad as we thought. Is what kind of came out of this a little bit. Was that what you think?
I think it helps the case. I mean, Yeah, I do think it helps. Obviously, it's like they surrounded him with a bunch of wings and like really good players that complement him. But and it's not like the other thing I will say about that is Brunson wasn't like hunted, and
Mhm.
there could be few reasons for that. One, I don't think the Spurs hunted him enough. Two, I don't think the Spurs had like any great offensive, um, like one-on-one players besides maybe Dylan Harper. Like Harper was going at him a few times, and like where
Yeah.
he would just bully his way to the paint. But so maybe they didn't do it enough. Um, but also he like tries really hard on defense. Like you can't like
Mhm.
he's not like weak for one, right? And the other thing is like the Knicks have done such they know like when teams are going to try to hunt Brunson, and so like they'll like scram switch and get him out of that type of situation. So you have to be like on a string. It's not like every team can do it, but I do think they laid a blueprint of how you can win with a small guard.
Yeah. They did like you said with Brunson, yeah, they did a lot of good strategies like showing and recovering yesterday. So in terms of like hiding him. But yeah, like you said, he's actually good, active with his hands. So in these four guards, I feel like Flemings gets a lot of hype on the defensive end. Would you say he's the best of the four guards right now defensively?
And
Or out of
yeah,
like, Flemings, Acuff, Mikel Brown, and Wagler?
yeah, he's right now. If you had to pick like one player, who's like the best defensive player of all those guys, it is Flemings. It's
Mm,
also like built in their college team's like identity where
yeah.
on Houston where that team just strives on defense. But he like was in a lot of ways like the main um the first point of attack on defense, and so like you could not really hunt him. But the thing is like he is he has the shortest wingspan of all those guys that we've talked about.
6'3".
Yeah. And so I do think he's going to have a tougher time in the NBA, but he like is really intelligent and like he tries a lot. And that's like half the battle. I was listening to
Yeah.
Draymond Green talk to Darius Acuff because I think they're both from Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And Draymond was like saying that like if you know the other team's plays and like you try really hard, that's 50% of the game on defense. Like
Yeah.
and so he was really encouraging Acuff to try harder on defense and like you can be a solid defender. So I'm hoping that, if the Kings do end up drafting Acuff, that he will be better on that end.
So do you think Acuff, because obviously it's defense, everyone that's what everyone's talking about because the tape is really bad. Do you think that that is probably because like sort of at Arkansas, Coach Cal, they had a tight rotation? Do you think that it is mostly like with effort he can get there to like where, like Jalen Brunson, he's serviceable? Because like, yeah, you could just sort of use them. So do you think that was just sort of like an Arkansas thing as opposed to, just lack of, his actual defensive qualities?
I think that's a really good question. I think Calipari didn't care that he played on like that.
Yeah.
Acuff tried because he was like,
Right.
"You're the engine for
Offensive
offense.
engine. Yeah.
Yeah, just focus on that. Like we got defense covered in other ways," which I think was like I think it instilled bad habits, and I think every team is like asking the same questions we're asking. And he they I remember like in one interview apparently a team asked him like, "Hey, what happened on this play?" And it was like near the end of the game, I guess, and he messed up defensively, and he just said, "I'm tired." I was tired. So I mean, I get it, like you're tired, but like, man, like that's not going to fly in the NBA. It's just not.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you for I'm looking at a lot of these mock drafts and like it's kind of all over the place for the four guards. We like Sam Vecini stuff a lot. He's got a Wagler, then he's got Acuff, and then Kingston for us, for the Kings. There's some like KOC I think came out and got us at Keaton as the 7th pick because I think Mikel for him was 5 and then Acuff was 6. Like what's like if the Kings if you think if it's Keen Wagler at 5 and 6 is Acuff, the Kings should go with Mikel Brown just because the higher ceiling. Like, do you think he has like bust potential, or and like because everyone was worried about his back and medicals and stuff like that. Those seem to be clear, I guess, from what everyone's, I guess, from the buzz that's happening.
Yeah, I have heard the same basically that he grew. He had a late growth spurt, so that's I think what maybe attributed to his back issues. So apparently he's fine now. So I'm not worried about his injuries. Um, there's bust potential with any of these guys,
Yeah.
but there's also like you have to look at the ceiling too. And I think Kingston has maybe the higher. He has a high floor. He does have a really safe floor. But then I'm like, I don't want to say
Mhm.
these other guys don't have a good floor too. They all seem like they have really good floors. And I was talking to James Barlow of
Mhm.
NBA Draft Junkies, and we
Mhm.
were talking about like how this draft we're both really high on Michael Brown. So like in Michael Brown, if he was drafted in the Chet draft, we both think he would go 3 above Jabari. Like
Whoa, that's
I
pretty
think,
big.
yeah. I mean, maybe we're both. I think we're probably both higher than on consensus. But I think the point is, it does depend like on who you ask. Like Jonathan Gavoni said that like outside the top 4, this is like a pretty standard draft. But I would disagree with that. I actually think outside the top 7, this is a pretty standard draft. And
Mm.
some people would even say maybe top 10. But you know, I think these guards. Put it this way: like I don't think I would not be surprised if Wagler, Acuff, or Michael Brown became all stars. So I don't know if that means anything.
Do you think that if the Kings ended up getting Acuff, and I guess depending on how you perceive Maxime Renault, do you think those two guys would be like the building blocks, and then like just try to find defensive forwards like Keegan and um, around those two guys? Like, do you think that could potentially build something? And do you think Acuff's? I mean, the one thing about Acuff is like his measurements weren't that bad. Like what he had like a 6'7", wingspan. Like I think like he could improve as a defender just with more effort, and that he's not trying to take over the whole game offensively. That should help him a little bit.
I think that will definitely help him. I think the wingspan helps too. And you could see like it wasn't shocking to see that Flemings had a short wingspan and that Acuff had a high wingspan. Like you could kind of
Mhm.
tell. I think for Acuff, he has to just learn how to like navigate through screens. Like it's like the basic fundamentals, and like he will have to try harder. So
Was there an injury? For some reason, I saw on Twitter something that he was kind of hurt a little bit too and stuff. And
Yeah,
so,
I think his ankle during the tournament or something.
yeah, that's
But
right. Yeah,
it
I kind of
wasn't
forgot
it
about
wasn't
that.
anything
But
serious, I don't think.
his defense, okay, I will say so. His defense was better in the beginning of the season when he did
Mhm.
not have to carry as much of a load, and then as the season went on, it kind of got
yeah,
worse. And maybe the ankle injury had something to do with it too. But really, I think, I mean, he said it himself, like he was just too tired. So it's like you could lower the offensive load for him, and you surround him with good defenders. Which I mean, hey, I totally forgot the Kings have DeAndre Hunter too. Like maybe maybe he could help too. Um, but yeah, I mean, building block wise, I don't know if I see Reno as like a really good building block,
right.
or Nick Clifford. I mean, those guys are kind of. I mean, they're on the older side, but I see them more as role players. I think whoever we draft at 7 is like
Mhm.
that's the building block. You got to, that's your first
Right.
building block.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Brayden Burries?
So he has an NBA ready body. Um, doesn't have like the best handle. So the reason I have him, I have him just under those guys. I have him at 8, and then I have Kingston at 9. Burries, you look at like NBA guys in the playoffs, and he seems like a playoff type of player because he has like a good body. He makes
Yeah.
smart plays, um, good
Yep.
shooter.
Good.
Like he doesn't like he'll get all the way to the paint in a straight line drive, but he doesn't have a lot of wiggle to him. So that's why I'm like, I think he's like a really solid starter, like high end starter, more than like I see like all star potential. But I mean, I still really like him. I wouldn't like be shocked if he became an all star either, but I'm not really betting on it.
If the Kings end up getting Kingston Flemings, would that be like a disappointing NBA draft for the Sacramento Kings?
For me personally, yes, but I could understand the reasoning because I think Vivek would be like, "Oh, look, he has Kings in his name," you know. I'm just joking, but I mean, I think it depends. Like like you said, Sam is really high on him. Apparently, Flemings has done really well in the interviews.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know if you guys saw that he said that like I'm like open to be. I'm like willing to be. I want to be the next Case and Wallace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it does show like his tenacity. Like he's ready to do anything on the court. So I think teams do like that. The reason I don't have him higher is because if you look at his dribble, it's a little bit high, and so he's really quick with the ball.
Mhm.
If he could like just like get the ball a little bit lower and have a little bit more wiggle, um, I would be less concerned. And also when he gets when he gets past his defender, he's kind of stops short and like goes for like a 5 foot shot, which it goes in a lot of the times. But I'm like he's not going all the way for a reason because he's kind of skinny and he's
Yeah.
on the shorter end, and so that's why I'm like I don't know. That's another thing. I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna really work all that well, where I feel like you have star potential versus look at someone like Wagler, um, and he has his issues in the paint too,
Mhm.
but he's like he looks like a better one-on-one player, I would say.
It's kind of crazy. I think I saw a stat that said that out of all the top 20 freshman guards in BPM since 2008, there's like 6 of them in this draft, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, I think we haven't gotten a lot of good guards the last few years in the
Yeah,
draft,
we haven't.
and you mentioned that to me, and I looked it up, and it was like the last good guard in the top 6 or 5 was like Garland, maybe. I, I
Yeah.
could I could be
What
wrong,
year
but
was
like
Garland? Let's see.
2019 maybe.
Oh, 2019. What year was Cade?
Cade was like 20. What was Cade?
Tw- 2021. He was the
21.
2021. Yeah.
2021.
And then
Okay.
Tyrese was 20, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but or you could say
Oh, he was
Lamelo
12.
too.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you think,
Yeah.
Ravneet, do you think like any guards outside the lottery, like LaBaron, Philon, Ebuka, Okorie? I know that he's sort of been like a polarizing guy. Do you think any of these, Christian Anderson? Are you high on any of these guards? Or do you think they could jump into like not maybe like all-star level, but into grouping with these guys?
I see them all more or less as really solid bench players.
Mm,
Um, Philon, I would say I have him the highest, and I could see him becoming a starter, but he's going to have to become stronger. And um, because when he gets to all the way to the paint, he just gets bumped and he can't
yeah, it's
finish
small.
very well. But Okorie is kind of like the opposite. Really good
Yeah.
wingspan. When he gets all the way to the basket, he can finish, but then his shot is a little bit questionable. So they all have question marks. I just think they're all really good bench players and with the potential to be like a starter player, but I don't see all-star potential.
Yeah, so they're for sure like a tier below the above group that we talked about.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the top stuff now, the top tier stuff. Here we go. The top 4. I know you have at least one difference in the consensus top 4 that everyone's talking about. Dybantsa 1, Peterson 2, Boozer 3, Wilson 4. I know you got at least one change. Do you have multiple changes in that top 4 on your big board?
I do.
Whoa!
Oh, we didn't even say it yet. Let him
I guess I'll just name my top 4. Darren Peterson, AJ Dybantsa, Caleb Wilson, Cam Boozer.
Whoa, Cam Boozer 4 is a big surprise there. Why is
Yeah.
that?
I made a whole video on this topic because I
That was
I
a
just
really good
wanted to
video.
do the deep dive. Yeah, thanks. The reason is like if you look at like the conference tournament that Duke played in and the main tournament, March Madness, Cam Boozer was attacked a lot. Like he was attacked on the defensive end a lot, and I think that part is being overlooked a little bit. And it, I don't like. Okay, he was one of the most productive freshman players of all time. Like if we were talking about like who would we take in college basketball the rest of their careers, it would be Cam Boozer without a doubt. If we were even talking about like European players, but the NBA is a little bit different, and I think what position is he going to play at the next level? Like, is he more of a 5 or more of a 4? I think he's too small to be a 5. He
Too
doesn't have
small.
the rim protection to play the 5. So you're going to play him at the 4. Okay, if you're going to play him at the 4, then how is he going to do versus defending guys like Tatum, right? Or like guys where he's not going to do well coming off of screens. And so the game they lost against UConn, they were trying to run Alex Caravan like off of screens, and Cam Boozer couldn't guard him. That was like one of the main baskets that UConn had near the end of the game. So I'm like worried about him defensively in the playoffs, particularly. And then two, he plays a lot of bully ball, and also like we've seen guys like Sabonis, and like sometimes that bully ball does work, but like I don't think it's going to work all the time, especially against taller defenders. So in the ACC tournament against Virginia, they had this big, I forgot his name, but he had like 8 blocks in the game. I want to say something like that, and a lot of them were against Cam, and you could see that Cam kind of struggled against that length. So yeah, long story short, that's why I'm kind of worried about Cam Boozer.
Yeah, those are definitely some concerns that we've had on this show for him as well. We do like Caleb, just as like a higher ceiling kind of guy for the draft. The guy is like what 6'10" and like can do pretty much everything except shoot for now. But I don't know. I like that. So is that mainly why you or like for Caleb? What's Caleb's case for being 3? Like it's just his athleticism, his like Giannis like type play style. Like what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely part of it. I would also say that he's really good shooting his turnaround jumper. Like the 3-point shot is questionable, and that needs to get better without a doubt. He's a maniac, so I think that is going to get better. I think like he was. I think
His
it's
work
not.
ethic, you mean, when you said a maniac?
Yeah, exactly. And like I also think he knows like so during the lottery they interviewed the top 3 guys and they didn't interview him. And I think like people say that like that was something that is on his mind, like he feels like he should not be 4th. And in a lot of ways I think this is just a weird draft where it's like you have 4 possible guys who could potentially be the number 1 pick in like a lot of years drafts. It's just this year one of these guys is going to fall 4th. Cam Boozer, even though I have him 4th, it's not like in a lot of drafts I would probably have him 1. It's just that's why this draft is so interesting. But going back to Caleb, UNC didn't really use him in the pick and roll until like game like 10 or 11. And then they only would use him like that way once or twice. If you have him setting screens like I don't know, like a normal amount, like 4 to 10 times a game, he's going to get like easy baskets to the rim as a roller. And defensively, he wasn't like he projects to be a really good defender, but he wasn't like a great defender at UNC. But I think he'll get there also in time. He just has like all the defensive tools you want in like a player playing that position.
Let's talk about the other 2 guys in the top 4. So we both like Darren Peterson first too. Sounds like you have him over Dybantsa as well. Do you think sort of like the injury concerns is what's causing people to fall, or like why do you specifically have him over Dybantsa? Because Dybantsa is presumably going to be the number 1 pick, and I feel like a lot of people have Dybantsa number 1 because he was dropped, what is it, 26 points per game as a freshman. So yeah, I feel like we're sort of like all 3 of us are on like it's not a popular opinion that Peterson should be number 1. So yeah, what do you think about those 2 players?
I'm making a video on those two, like comparing those two guys too, because about a week ago I had AJ higher because he just seemed
Oh
like the
wow.
safer pick, and he's
Oh wow.
his size also, right? Like how many guys are his like basically
Yeah.
6'9", and I forgot his measurements, like what his wingspan was, but it was also really good.
Mhm.
Like you don't find wings at that size who are really good one-on-one players who aren't afraid attacking the paint all the way. Like he has no fear going all the way to the basket, and he tries to mimic Kevin Durant's game a little bit, and you could see that. Like I show one clip of them where they look very similar, like with the turnaround jumper. Um, so I do like AJ a lot. Like I said, he would be number one in a lot of years draft, and I think he's actually going to go number one just because of his positional size.
Mhm.
But every time Darren and him faced each other, Darren won the battle, and also like that maniac mentality. Like I'm not saying AJ doesn't have it, but I think Darren is like maybe at another level with that. Um, Darren, the game just comes a little bit easier. His shot is more consistent. That's another big factor. Um, I basically go over like 3 cases for each player why they should be like the number one pick. And
Mhm.
so for
Okay.
Darren, I had like his shooting, like he won all the battles, like his mentality,
Mm.
and like he's a better offensive fit. Like he doesn't need the ball in his hands to be dangerous because he
Mhm.
comes off screens a lot more versus like the case for AJ is he's a better isolation player, and and his size is really good. So you can make the argument for either guy, and I can't fault anyone for liking one guy over the other.
So you brought up the comparing like other drafts, other drafts and stuff. What for these first 4 players? Would you have put all of them above in the 2022 draft? It was Paulo, Chet, Jabari. Would you put all 4 of those guys number one above those in terms of like their potential and stuff like that?
It's a really good question. I think this is like a good exercise to do because it puts the draft in perspective. I would definitely draft AJ and Darren one over any of those guys.
Right.
Um, Paulo, I was pretty high on like in that
Mhm.
draft. I had him like consistently number one, and he's the one that I'm not sure about. Like I go back and forth of like would I rather have him or Boozer? Boozer was more productive, but I think I would still be concerned about some of the things I listed. So that's where I'm like I might have like Paulo and then Caleb and then Boozer, but
Mm.
what
Okay.
I don't know. What do you guys think on that?
Yeah, Paolo was a great, great prospect. I feel like, so was Chet really, but I think, man, it's tough, especially when
It's
you're
such a
comparing
difficult
historical drafts. Yeah, it's hard.
it's a difficult question because you already have 4 year sample size of the other guys.
Yeah,
You
yeah, your
can't
NBA
bias it.
sample size. Yeah,
You have
It
to,
makes a little bias.
yeah, it does because you have to think about like at that time,
Yeah,
like
at
what did
that
I
time.
think about Paolo and Chet? And I was lower on Jabari, and I was probably a little bit higher on Ivy that year,
Mm.
hmm
who didn't turn out to be that great. I guess I don't know. He has a little different issue, I
yeah, you
guess.
couldn't have predicted that, man.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I guess I should throw in Chet in that conversation. I think Chet would have been also. Man, Caleb is really enticing. I think I would have probably had Caleb and Boozer over Chet though.
Mm.
hmm
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Okay, that's good. And then we like comps here. I love doing comps. Do you have comps for some of these the big 4 here? I mean, I would probably might go. I don't know if you do have comps, but I kind of like going through comps for all the players we've talked about already. But like, man, like I mean, for us, like or at least for me, the first thing that comes to mind for like Boozer is kind of like a Kevin Love style. Dybantsa is like a like an even more athletic, taller DeMar DeRozan. Peterson kind of plays like Ant-Man to me. What are some comps that you got for these like top 8 guys?
So Darren, I would not compare him to Ant only
Mhm.
because he does not attack the paint as viciously as Ant does. So I was kind of looking at like the percentage of times that Ant would attack the paint, and it was like, or his baskets at the rim, it was like 40%, and Darren in high school was like 30%, I want to say, but in high school it was like closer to 30% when he was fully healthy. So I think that's more of the Darren we're going to see, and so that kind of compares to guys like Devin Booker. I didn't look at Bradley Beal's numbers, but I think he kind of reminds me of Bradley Beal too a little bit. I've heard that comp I like. So the reason I like the Beal one is because he like comes off screens a lot, but he could also be like the main ball handler. Caleb Wilson, I've heard Garnett, which I kind of like. Like I kind of see that. Like, but if you squint,
Garnett's pretty. That's like he's a top one of the best defensive players of all time. I don't know if can Caleb get there.
I mean, Garnett was also like someone you could play at the 5, and I don't think you could play Caleb at the 5. So I don't like love it, but like I don't have a great comp for Caleb.
It's hard to find a comp for Caleb.
Yeah,
like a poor man's Giannis or something, or like very poor man's Giannis.
yeah, I don't know. That's
hard.
Kevin Love for Boozer. I've heard. I could kind of like squint and see it, but I don't know if I think Boozer's like, I don't know who like he's
he's like Detroit Blake Griffin kind of.
Oh yeah, that one I feel like I've heard. That one I've heard, and I like.
That's a good comp. I heard. Yeah, I heard for him. Like Blake Griffin at the end of his career, where he wasn't super athletic but played that role. He could shoot and just high IQ, good passer. So I think that's because Kevin Love was dropping 40-20. He was kind of beast in the NBA. I think that's a little I feel like he doesn't really play super similarly, but I see some similarities.
Yeah.
What about Dybantsa? Do you have any comps for him or any of the guards? Because I know you've been deep diving the guards hard.
I've heard Darren Williams for Acuff. I don't mind that one. I've
said that on the show once.
Oh yeah, he said. Zach said Darius Garland, but I don't. Do you see? I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it with Acuff.
No, not in Garland. Yeah. No, I don't see that. Who was Dybantsa? I mean, there is some Durant in this game. There's some Tatum maybe. There's
but
some.
You think his 3-point shooting will be like these guys?
No, not like Tatum's.
But like Brandon Ingram. I kind of see Brandon Ingram.
I like Brandon Ingram. I see like a taller DeMar maybe. I think comps are good, like in a sense, like they get you to start like thinking about what type of player this guy is going to play like. But it's like each player is like their own, But Mikel Brown kind of has some shades of like Tyrese with some of his passes. Like I don't think he's like that level of passer, but he's willing to like make risky passes. And
Halliburton.
Say that again.
Tyrese Halliburton, right?
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah.
People say Keaton Wagler is like Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard like some of Shea also for Wagler. Like
I did. Like, that's crazy.
Shades. I mean, shades of Shea. Like in that, like, he's very slippery. Like you can't figure out what his next move is going to be.
Okay. All right. So what about for these like 10 to 12 or 10 around 8 to 15 type players? We can check those guys a little bit. One of the bigger names around there is Yaxel. He's an older prospect. A lot of people are picking him to OKC at 12. What's your thoughts on Yaxel? You got any comps? We know he's like a really solid wing. What more can you give us for him?
I'm hearing that he's going to fall in the draft because of his age. But I do think OKC could use him. and maybe they'll use him with their second pick in the first round instead of their first. It's just really hard to draft someone that old. I think he's going to be 24 by the time of the draft. I
Yeah.
want to say. But he could help them now. So, like, I think he would be good in Golden State if they're trying to win now still, and he would be good with OKC because OKC needed size. But if he fell, I think the Spurs could also, pick him too, and that they need a 4. He would be like a perfect fit. Shooting is like a kind of a concern. Like he did become a better shooter, but like it was more inconsistent later in the year. Really good attacking the paint, like just a really good glue guy. Like I think he's like a really solid starter level player. Yeah, he's a winning player. I mean, good. Yeah.
What
maybe
about
not the best.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, just maybe not the best rebounder, but like he's a really good passer, so and good like a good connector. That's all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so his teammate, someone that like I'm super high on. I'm not really hearing like a lot of buzz, but I feel like with Wembanyama, Aday Mara, what are your thoughts on him? Because I feel like he's perfect for like the Wemby guarding. I mean, he's obviously a little small, but 7'3", out of Spain. Obviously, he was Yaxel's teammate, but what are your thoughts on him?
So when I looked at the size, I'm like, yeah, maybe he would be good for Wemby, but then Wemby's kind of solved the slow big men. So I don't know, like, I don't think Mara could get out and guard him, Wemby on the perimeter. So I think I actually thought when you were going to say Morez Johnson.
Morez Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, because he's shorter, but he's really strong and like decent wingspan. He could play the 5. Like I actually would, if I'm picking one of those 3 guys on Michigan to guard Wemby, I think I would pick Morez Johnson.
Would you pick Morez Johnson just overall?
Yeah.
Like, would you have him highest? Okay.
Yeah, I would. But I think Mara is getting a lot of buzz, and even at 8.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were even talking about the Clippers grabbing him or something to get their
at
center.
5. Oh yeah. Wow, that's high.
Or people trading up, stuff like that. There's 2 guys. Well, this first guy is kind of a wing that's been talked about a lot. And he was like I think he was like a top 5 guy coming into this season, and that's Nate Ament. That guy has shown that he's not the most aggressive player. But what happened from him being maybe like I think he might have been even top 3 prospect going into the season. Like, why has he fallen during the season? And do you think teams should consider him a little bit harder for his earlier like potential and stuff that he had?
Yeah, Nate Ament was projected to be top 5 coming into the year. And it was probably because of his tools and like the potential. Like you looked at him and people were comparing him to Kevin Durant, which is like crazy. But
that's crazy.
I think maybe don't quote me on this. I want to say like one of his coaches said that. I could be wrong, but yeah, I mean he's another one of those players where he's like super skinny. He did gain some weight in his year at Tennessee. And he also kind of struggles attacking the paint, So I was hearing that maybe the Nets would pick him. Like they were interested in him at 6, which I would be very happy if I was a Kings fan.
Yeah.
But I think that's a little bit too high, and Nets fans were not the happiest about it. He's definitely a project, and if you look at his career, he's kind of always struggled like at each level early on. But then like he gets better, near the end. So yeah, he's one of those players that may not be like very good throughout their rookie contract, but he might be like better in his second contract because he has great length, size. He'll get stronger. If he could be a better shooter because he's only shooting like 33% from 3, then that would definitely be helpful. But he's not like an isolation player. He's not going to create on his own. But he's like, you're hoping for basically a 3-and-D wing type of player, which is hard to find.
Do you have him or Dailyn Swain higher? Me and Naf saw him in the tournament playing for Texas when they almost actually I don't remember if they almost beat Purdue or something, but that was the game, and we really liked his skills. Like he has a pretty nice skill set. What's your thoughts on him, and how's he on your big board?
I like Swain a lot. I think he wasn't as good defensively this year, but he was before. So I think he'll will be a good defender at the next level. He shot well from the free throw line and from decently from three, like 30. I'm looking at 34% from three. Um, I like Swain. I do like him a lot. I would still probably go Ament, but if you were a
Mm,
team, like the way I do my big board is that I look at who would I draft in if I had a blank canvas. If I
mm,
had basically if you were the Kings, like who would you draft?
yeah.
And I in that sense I would draft Nate Ament just because he's younger and he has more potential. But Swain, I think, is the safer pick between the two.
Um, a couple other guys around this that kind of have bigger names. Jayden from Kentucky, 18 years old. I think he was also one of the top prospects coming in, like a pretty big top prospect. Now he's around, 17 to 20 or something like that. What's your thoughts on Jayden?
Yeah, Jayden Quaintance played 1 year at Arizona State, then transferred to Kentucky, and he tore his meniscus and ACL, and it was something else happened to his knee too. Like it was a bad injury, so he didn't really play much at Kentucky. So if his medicals come out clean, I would be willing to draft him higher than a lot of the guys we've discussed. Not higher than like the top guards, but like I would draft him higher than Nate Ament, for example.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, I'm really high in Quaintance, and James and I were talking about like how you need guys if you're OKC to defend Wemby. Like he's someone if fully healthy, he could guard Wemby, and he could guard him pretty well, I would say. Like so, I you're not drafting him for his offense. You're drafting him strictly for defense, basically, and as a role finisher. So maybe like a Robert Williams, I think I've heard as a comp, but
Mm,
it, like imagine Robert Williams, but like someone who could switch onto guards.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
wow.
elite.
yeah,
Would you
What
put Hans
about
Steinbach in sort of like that range as well, or are you
yeah.
lower on him?
I'm a little bit lower on him, but he was a really good rebounder. I mean, he was really productive for a freshman. So
Hmm.
you're drafting him to be like strictly a five, like good rebounder. I think he could be like a solid starter, but I would rather have Quaintance just because the ability to switch is like something that's really hard to get. And I don't think
Yeah.
like with Hans, you're gonna have to play like drop coverage.
Mm.
What about this guy was also kind of actually this guy's kind of been dropping a little bit because I remember him being in like a top 15, top 12 type prospect, and this guy's the 19-year-old from Arizona, Koa Peat. So we all saw him in the tournament playing against Arkansas. But what do you think about him? Is his problem like just his position? Like he's kind of like a weird type of player, weird type of player. Like why has he been dropping?
Did you guys see his
Shot.
shot at the combine?
Yeah, that he changed like his whole form, and it's terrible. Right?
Yeah, yeah, it's terrible.
Does
Yeah,
not look good. Yeah.
I mean, a new team is going to probably work with him on that. He's like a developmental project. You look at him and you're like, oh, this guy could play football, and then you really like a lot of his
Mhm.
family members have played football apparently.
Yeah.
So I do think he's worth the gamble, like late first round, like in the
Mhm.
20s, or and I wouldn't be like completely shocked if he fell to the second round. He's just like a
Oh wow.
weird. He has like he's a little bit like short, right? And so like,
Yeah.
but I think he can play. He could play the four. It's more like if he could just shoot, but his shot is such
Yeah.
like a project, So I would be willing to take him in like the mid 20s. I think.
Yeah. He probably should. You think he should have went back to Arizona? I know there was a lot of buzz about that.
Oh yeah, there was.
Then next year he'd probably be, if he obviously fixes the shot because it looks super broken, like you said, then he could be a top 10 pick at least next year.
Yeah, I think maybe he should have gone back to college. Yeah, and I think with the money that Arizona probably would have given him, yeah.
What's your take on Cameron Carr? Because his name's been flying up recently pretty hard. I think he had like a good draft combine and stuff. So, what's your thoughts on him as a prospect?
Yeah, like good 3-and-D player, good shooter, good coming off of screens. Sophomore, I think he's 21. He averaged like 19 points per game. I like him a lot. Like he might be. There's a few good shooters. I was gonna say he's definitely like in the top 3 to 5 best shooters in the draft. I would say Christian Anderson is up there, and Bennett Sturts, and then I think I might put Carr 3. There's some good shooters even in the second round too, but at least in the first round, at his size, he might be the best shooter. I just thought about Philon. Philon's a good shooter too. There's a lot of good shooters in this year's draft.
Do you have any hot takes from your big board? I know you gave us a couple in the top 4. You gave us the Mikel Brown one is your top guard. Is there any other ones that we're missing? You got any other hot takes? Because you usually have a couple. Okay.
I feel like we've talked about a few where like Jayden Quaintance I have pretty high, and like my top 4. Nate Ament I have a little bit lower, and Isaiah Evans I would say I have a first round grade on him. Like I would pick him over Koa Peat. I would pick him over.
Whoa, that's a hot take.
Yeah, I would pick him maybe higher than.
Is Isaiah Evans in your? Is he in your top 25?
Yeah, he's in my top 25.
Yeah, because I've been seeing him go like second round in some mocks, and I was surprised because from when I watched him play, he's like really good.
Yeah, I think he's like really solid floor, right? Like he's not. You're just looking for guys who could be a potential starter. He's kind of skinny, so like he might be more like your 7th or 8th guy. But still, I think I think he's gonna hit. Bennett Sturts I really like too, the guy from Iowa. But I think he's more of a bench player. I think if you want a really good backup point guard, this is your draft.
Yeah,
yeah.
Philon and Anderson.
What about I guess the one guy that we didn't touch on is probably going with first round, Chris Cenac. What are your thoughts on him?
He had like an up and down year at Houston. He projects to be like a stretch 4, but he didn't like shoot as well as you'd like for him to shoot. He was kind of passive, so he's like a little bit of a project, I would say. 33% from 3, 62% from the line. So like you would want that to be better, but really good wingspan, 7'5". So like you could potentially have him play 5, and so that if you have like a stretch 4, stretch 5, I mean, there's a lot of potential in him.
Would you for the Sacramento Kings, would you want them to trade up or you just want them to get whatever the remaining guard is? Like, do you feel strongly about any of these like guards to like, maybe we could trade a top, let's say a future first that's like maybe top 10 protected or something. Let's say that would be the trade to move up 2 spots. Would you? And I guess it is Mikel Brown. Would you be willing to do that?
It's a really good question.
And you can, and maybe you could tell me what pick if you're considering it, what pick protections would be. I don't know. In this new format, is it just top 10 and top 4, or I forgot what protections you can do now?
You could still do lottery, and I think you could still do top 10. I would
Okay.
probably, if I could do it lottery protected, man, I would be open to it. I would
Yeah.
definitely be open to it if you could do lottery protected. I think that's just, but I'm like, man, I don't know. Like at the same time, I think I wouldn't do it, to be honest. I would just take the gamble and see who's there, And if
Yeah.
I would be hoping for Acuff or Mikel Brown because I have them a little bit higher than Wagler. I would still put those guys in the same tier, those
Yeah.
three guys. But I would just be like, it's not worth the risk because
You're
even if
losing
that,
another asset, and the Kings don't have
yeah,
many.
exactly. I mean, would you do that trade?
Probably not. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I probably not. We don't have that many assets in the first place, and we just gotta like if it's Keaton, Acuff, and then we get Mikel Brown, that could happen. If it's Mikel, Keaton, Acuff, that's great too. I'd be okay with that. I mean, the Kings need some entertainment in this on this team, and they need someone fun. And I think that any of those Mikel, Keaton, or Acuff are going to bring some entertainment, and that's why any of those guys would be fun to have on the team. That's the why I asked you. I think you said at Kingston. Like I feel like I'd also be disappointed if we got him. He's just like he's good, but he's just not. He's not like a building block for like a ship team. I don't know.
I feel like he doesn't have that star potential the other guys, that ceiling the other guys have.
Yeah,
like Ravneet said, Cason Wallace, which I mean, Cason Wallace is a great player, but he's not a 1A. I don't even think he's a second option on a championship team.
I do think Kingston will be better than Wallace, but I think they both are kind of that similar level player, I guess, where they're like they could start for many years, but like you said, if you're the Kings, you want someone with upside to be an all-star, and I think maybe those three guys have it.
For the Kaysen comp, but do you think Kingston is a better like playmaker, passer than Kaysen by a lot?
I actually think a better comp is maybe I was thinking Aaron Brooks, like a little bit.
I like that.
Aaron Brooks a little bit because they're
better
both
defensive
like
version.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For all these, there's a bunch of rumors that you hear every day. There's a bunch of different stuff, like all these trades buzz and stuff like that. How do you take all the rumors with a grain of salt? And like, is it just all smoke screens for all this NBA draft stuff? Like teams just trying to like act like they don't like a player and things like that. Like, how do you perceive all these? Because all these rumors change every day.
I was listening to a podcast with Kristen Peak, and she does a lot of like grassroots basketball stuff and NBA draft stuff, and she was saying that a lot of like the rumors that we hear is basically agents leaking stuff out. More the teams aren't really leaking stuff out, but of the like, I don't know, the Kings. There's a lot of noise on Acuff to the Kings. And so
because it started early.
Yeah, it started early, and it's like getting louder and louder. So I don't know. That's the one team where I'm like, I don't know why you would want this to be leaked out this much, because
it's also the Scott Perry's coach. Acuff stat thing, right? People I feel like are reading a lot into that.
But why? Yeah,
but
I don't know.
It doesn't really. I mean, it's just a coincidence. I feel like
the one thing I will say. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think Scott Perry's dad also played with Nate Ament's dad too, or something like that. So, yeah, I don't know.
It is weird that the connection's been like almost like before the tournament or before the tournament. It was like the Acuff Kings connection, and a lot of people on Twitter say that like that was the big like that's like one of the biggest connections of all like the top 10 players. It's just like Acuff and Kings and stuff.
Yeah. I just if you are the Kings and you want if it was strategic for you this news to come out, I just don't see the point of it. I don't know.
The one thing I will say that I always think of is. From last summer, I feel like we learned that Scott Perry doesn't like small guards. I think there was trades for like a Trae Young in the summer. Didn't want him. I think they were considering Darius Garland. They were saying he didn't really like him. I don't know. There's something about small guards and Scott Perry not liking him. But I'm curious to see if he ends up if he's on the table, if that's who they get, or maybe they're trying to smoke screen that they like Acuff. But I don't know. It's just. there's something about small guards and
I
Perry
think
that
Brooklyn at 6 honestly is going to be like the determining factor because they have so many guards already. So
yeah.
it's just like I don't know what they're going to do. They're so hard to predict. I mean, even obviously the Clippers too. So it's just hard
So
to predict. So I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of these assumptions are just I don't know, people guessing.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all a guess at the end of the day. But like, what about Perry and small guards? I
Yeah.
wonder if he didn't like those guards because they have a lot of money tied to them. With like,
Yeah.
I don't know, John Morant too, right? Like John Morant has
Yeah.
his own questions, but
Yeah.
Trey, we've seen those guys a little bit, and I think the difference between trading for one of those guys is they're more like they are who they are at this point.
Mhm.
Versus like if you draft Acuff, you could hopefully develop him into being a better defender.
That's true. Yeah.
Um,
You would, the hope is basically Brunson almost like that'd be great.
It's not like you
Um,
need him to come in and win games right away either, especially with like the new lottery format. I mean, you can't really tank the anymore, so
yeah.
you kind of do want a player that does help you win some games, not tank too hard. So yeah, it will be. I think it'll be exciting to have a point guard like that in Sacramento, whether it's Acuff or Mikel.
I mean, it kind of also incentivizes teams to keep their star players like who
Yeah,
you were maybe thinking about trading. Like for the Kings, maybe you do just hold on to Sabonis. Maybe you just hold on to Levine. Maybe
yeah,
if you're Memphis, just hold on to Job. What incentive do you have? Like the new lottery odds basically wants you to win, so you kind of need to win with those guys.
it's a
I
good
mean,
point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. But all right, for the NBA draft, we just got a couple minutes left here. What if you got any other takes that you want to say that we missed, or is there anything that you want to mention as far as something on your big board or a player that we didn't get to talk about, or something an interesting player that you've been kind of talking about, or something that we missed? Anything? The floor is yours.
um, some I'll mention two smaller guys I don't think we've talked about. Um, One is Zuby Ejiofor. He played at St. John's, and he had a really, really good tournament. They beat Kansas with Darren Peterson, and they almost beat Duke. And he was a big reason why. And his shooting numbers weren't that great. I think he shot like 30% on the year, but like in the tournament, I felt like he shot a lot better. So shot is the biggest question for him. He could be like a really good for like really solid size, tenacious defender. Um so like I like Zuby, and he might go in the second round. Um or late first. And then I remember the big that I was talking about who was giving Cam Boozer fits, and I think he wasn't really on draft radars at the time, but I think because of that game he became got onto some, and it was he was at Virginia. I'm probably gonna mess his name up, but Ugonna Onyenso, 7 foot, senior. Um, his wingspan 7'4",
Mm.
so
Wow.
really good defender. Like again, like no one could really defend Wemby, but like guys like that become more valuable because you have to think like you just have to throw bodies at him at Wemby, and that guy has like the size and the length to at least like trouble him some, and he's athletic, So that's what you're looking for: athletic, tall, strong guys that could try to guard Wemby.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially when you're in the Western Conference, gotta be playing them up so
It's crazy
much.
how this draft has like we're looking for like 1B stoppers and Jalen Brunson
Yeah.
comes after the final. And like this draft has a lot of, small guards and stuff like that. So it's great timing.
Yeah.
No, but Ravneet, we appreciate you being on the show. Love the insider insight for the draft. Love your work on Attack the Paint, and hopefully we'll talk about the draft after it happens, and we'll get your thoughts on that. So I'm excited to hear that as well.
Yeah, should be fun. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's always fun talking hoops with you guys.
Thanks, Ravneet.
All right, guys. Take care.
Later.